Yay, we did it.
We got a technology, right? Technology.
I know.
But anyway, so Izzy, how are you today?
I'm really good. How are you, Dan?
Doing fantastic. I mean, what better way to have an epic Tuesday with an epic guest? You know, I've been waiting for so much for this episode to happen, so I'm really happy that we're actually making it. So. Me
too. I'm really glad to be here. I know we've been talking about it for a while, so this is great. It's finally happened. It's a magical Tuesday.
Yeah. So, welcome to the show. Before we start, I have to give you a proper welcome. If you have seen some of my episodes before, you know exactly what I'm about to do. If not, that's cool, because then I can surprise you. So let me.
Oh yeah. I'm excited. What's happening? I feel it. I'm feeling it.
You know, it's like a regular thing we do here on Chat With Dan. You know, we're still a small operation. You know, we wouldn't have live audience, but we will have at some point. So
yeah, one day we're gonna have that live audience.
Love it. So starting with everything here, tell me how your acting career started.
Well, my acting career started when I was in high school. Actually, I was a dancer in Australia. I was at a performing arts high school, and I quickly realized I wasn't quite disciplined enough to be a ballerina, but I was very interested in hanging out with the drama crew. So I actually went and changed streams and became an actor. And things actually happened really quickly. I was cast in a play, and an agent came to see the play and asked if they would represent me. And then a month later, I had booked a series regular in a TV show. So it was very serendipitous. There were a lot of things that were aligned, I think, at that time. And I look back on it, I think, wow, it just kind of happened in this wacky way. And then that kind of started a whole journey in the acting world. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming that TV show was Underbelly, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what were like some of the challenges that you had when you recently started? Because I think we all have them, right? Whenever we are starting something,
yeah.
First we just don't know what the hell we're doing, right? So what were some of those challenges that you had?
Biggest challenge was that I'd never been on a professional film set before.
Okay.
And I think previous to that, I was definitely kind of a rebellious kid. And I had walked onto a professional television set being like, I've got this. And then very quickly was sobered by how, what an incredible kind of organism a film set is and what goes into it. And so it was also quite challenging because the rest of the cast were all adults and I was a kid. And so I kind of really was like, shut my mouth. I just wanted to watch and listen and pay attention and not screw up. And actually observed a lot of what was going on behind the scenes because I really started to kind of care about the filmmaking aspect of everything. Yeah. But the biggest challenge really was feeling confident enough to own my own space and like be expressive in my character. But I felt it was pretty simple for me to do that because the character made a lot of sense to me. But yeah, it was challenging. It was my first TV role. So, and I was 17.
I love it. And like talking about characters, tell me like how you usually prepare a character. I mean, I understand, of course, that depends on the role, right? But like, what usually sets you up? Like what usually kind of sets you up into this journey of character creation, let's say.
I think the first step is always trying to find where they kind of live in you, and that is through some intellectual work and then some physical work. How do they walk? I used to kind of think these exercises were really silly when I was in drama school. I was like, wow, they're so silly. Like, why do we have to do that? But actually now, as I've gotten older and as I've continued to work and audition and develop people, characters, I've recognized the importance of physically getting in your body, because I think we spend so much time in our head intellectualizing, and that can kill the buzz. That can kill the organic character. So definitely feeling into your body of where they are is a great place to start, and figuring out where that character actually resonates in you and in that person, where that person and you are the same, really is a great sort of jumping off point, I think.
And what do you think that could be some of the challenges that someone new might have when they're like creating like their first character, or like some of their first characters for a project? What do
other people find challenging, you think? You're saying? I mean, I guess it really depends on the person. I feel like so many actors come with different strengths. That's always going to be different, but being allowed to go there, I think, is always like allowing yourself to step out of the boundaries, because I think that where you start stepping out of your own comfort zone, it gets dangerous. Like, it feels dangerous to do that, but that's when the performance gets really good. When you sort of black out and you're like, did I do it? Was it terrible? Is usually when you've kind of got that sweet spot of danger and realness. So I think that's a challenge. I think a lot of people want to be really contained and specific and make sure that they're ticking the criteria off. And I really think that the important thing to do is not worry about the criteria and actually find yourself and be a little bit more dangerous with your approach.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think also it depends on the role, right? I mean, I would assume that maybe for when you get like a very dramatic role or kind of a very tough role, you know, I think it can be challenging, the fact that you are kind of playing something that is like, I mean, as you mentioned, that is totally out of like your comfort zone.
Yeah,
it's challenging, right?
I actually feel like the drama has always come easy to me, and the comedy, I think, and you know, this is very well said. I think a lot of people have said this, but comedy is harder. It's harder to find authentic truth and realness in a comedy role, I think. So drama, I mean, you know, but there's something kind of like juicy and gritty about getting into that place, whereas with comedy you sort of have to be in that place but keep it light, and that's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that comedy, like, it's so interesting that for comedy, whenever you really want to try to be funny, it's not working at all. And whenever you just don't care, you ended up being like super funny. So I think that at the same time, also, when you're like playing a character, having the chance to kind of do that must be challenging too, you know, because whenever you try to play your character in a very funny way, it might not connect. But at the same time, if you play it like not caring at all, might not connect either, you know. So I think that it is challenging.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can see also sometimes with actors that they have spent in their like most of their career on comedy, and they jump into a drama, and you're like, I don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so true. Although I usually find that people who have spent a lot of time in comedy and move over to drama end up really surprising us with good performances.
Oh yeah, sometimes they do. Yeah. Sometimes you're like, oh wow, yeah, I can agree.
Yeah, you're like, ooh, okay, you know. I wish I could think of a really good example off the top of my head, but there are so many examples of how that has happened.
Yeah, definitely. I can agree on that. So checking your IMDb profile, I mean, you're killing it here. Your profile is, I mean, the page is huge. I mean, I would be ended up this by saying Izzy does everything. That's it. Good night, everyone. You know, because you're killing it here. But tell me, like in general, like what do you think that it's an important aspect for storytelling?
What do I think is important for storytelling?
Yeah.
Gosh, it really depends on what role you're talking about. Or as an actor or as a creator or both?
Let's go with actor at the moment.
Good storytelling, you know, as an actor, I think means listening. Because when we get into ego and when we get into like self-focus, I think the story kind of can go down the drain. But when you're there for the purpose of the story and you're not thinking about your own, like, oh, I don't have very many lines, or you know, I'm not the focus, and like that sucks. It's like, yeah, but what story are we telling? That's what's important. I think the things that are really so vital there are the like listening to the people that are in the scene with you, and also continuing to be curious. I think curiosity is something that we can all forget so easily. And if we're in a scene where it's like, well, I've got to get it right, I have to be technical, I have to be this and that. But if you're showing up and you're listening and you're curious as your character, I mean, the story is served, because you're delivering what the story needs for it to hit audiences.
Totally. Okay. Now, besides being an amazing actress, I mean, we all know that, you also direct, produce, and write. So tell me, where does your passion to do so many things comes from?
I'm so obsessed with storytelling and film generally, and I have been since I was a kid. They tried to expel me from preschool when I was like 3 or 4 years old, because I was like directing kids in the playground and trying to get them to act out Titanic. So that's kind of it's always been in my person. But I think really it was being on set at an earlier age, like 17, 18, 19. I was on a lot of TV sets for a long periods of time, and I was watching the filmmakers do their work. I was watching the director as they talked with actors, and I was watching the other actors who knew technically, like had directed and had produced their own work as well, be more collaborative with the director. And that's what I found really like sexy. I was thinking, wow, it's so cool that actors can actually come to set and be able to hold their own and have these conversations with the director. So I went through film school for that reason. I thought, okay, well, if I learn the ropes, I'm going to be that kind of actor. I'm going to be able to show up on set, and I'm going to have a really good reputation for being knowing what goes where and what's happening and who's functioning how and how to deliver the story. But what ended up happening is I went through film school and I realized, oh my God, I love this. It felt like breathing to me. Directing, editing, I love editing as well. Like those are a few things that come quite easily to me. I don't know. I just really love the journey of storytelling. I feel like it makes sense to me. And I mean, I'm very grateful that I get to do it in my life. And that's why I coach people. That's why I coach people to make their own films too, because so much of it has been revolutionizing my life, and I want other people to feel that as well, especially actors. Yeah,
I love it. And starting with directing, so you worked in projects such as Seafoam, Worst Enemy, Phenomena, and Leap. Tell me, like, what's your vision, but also like for example, what's your approach when you're directing a film?
It's always different. So a few of the ones that you mentioned, I wrote and directed. They were my kind of babies. And then some of the other ones, I helped carry the vision from the creator. Okay. So it's always different. Like if it's my film, I'm really making sure that I'm across all of the different aspects and finding collaborators that can help support my vision. When I'm helping someone else bring their vision to life, I'm very much putting my own perspective aside. I mean, it's important that we're always bringing our opinion and our perspective, but at the end of the day, it's actually not my story. And so it's important that I'm not like overtaking it with my specific vision, because I'm there to support the creator so that their story can be told. Okay. So in that way, I always have a different approach. So yeah, it really does depend on the project, but when it's my own project, I think that I always come from a feeling and a kind of energy feeling space where I'm like, okay, I kind of know the way that I want the film to feel. That's always kind of, that's always a place where I really ruminate on a lot, with Seafoam, which was a recent film that I made. It's all tension, and it's very claustrophobic. Okay. And I wanted the film to feel that there's like not a lot of breath in the space, and that you're on the edge of your seat a little bit. It is a psychological thriller, so it depends on the feeling of the film, and I think that's something that makes sense to me to approach from that space. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. No, it does. And like, what could be like some of the challenges when you're directing but also acting on the same project at the same time? Yeah,
it's challenging. The biggest challenge is to make sure that you're really that you've communicated really well with your collaborators before the shoot day. So a week before the shoot, you can actually take your creator hat off and just be in the creative space and have everyone else be able to deal when the shit hits the fan, right? So it's about surrounding yourself with people who can understand your vision. And a really important thing for me is always to have a team, like a team, filled with people who aren't coming from an ego space instead of coming from what's the best thing for the story, because that's really the question. I think that the challenge of acting and directing at the same time is enormous. So being supported by people around you who understand you and that you have communicated very well with is the most important thing.
I love it. That's so cool. Like talking about writing now, what do you like the most about writing, but also how you usually get inspired?
I really don't love writing. I write, and I think that so many people have said, a lot of my clients say that to me actually. You know, I don't find writing easy. I mean, ideas I find easy, right? And they come to us, right? Especially when we're in an open-minded space, it's really easy for ideas to come to us. But sitting down and actually writing, I find really hard. Sometimes when I'm in the process of like writing consistently, you know, free writing, which is something that I get all my clients to do. Like if you're free writing every day and then you have one day a week where you can do your script writing, that's great, because just free writing 5 minutes a day gets your subconscious ready for that one period of time that you have to write. So that's kind of a hot tip for you. But writing, you know, when it's good, it's good, and when it's when it's hard, it's so freaking hard. And a lot of the time you just have to kind of buck up and just follow through even when you don't feel like it. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges. I don't even remember what your question was. Probably wasn't about challenges, but I just talked about it. So.
No, but I mean, I do get it, because I mean, like with some of the actors that I've interviewed, like some of them do write, and they will tell me that getting inspired, I mean, getting ideas is easy. I mean, you can go outside and you will have a lot of things to write, right? I mean, totally. Either the neighbor, co-worker, whatever. But like putting it together, that's challenging, because then you don't know like what exactly, how's it gonna be. And also, for example, for me, it will happen that whenever I will write something, I will. I mean, for example, I've been writing in something, but it's taking months now, because I'm constantly be like, yeah, but what if this might not be good enough? You know, I'm gonna scratch that, and then but if I scratch that, I'm gonna have to scratch this, and then that. And then you ended up being like, okay, no, screw it. So. Yeah,
it's really hard to stick to a story, because I think we kind of go like this a little bit with the idea. And I always say to clients, I always say to people, like, stick with it and follow through, even if it doesn't make sense, because at the end of the day, you'll have a script that's written, and that's better than nothing. So sticking with it, because you can always improve what's on the page. But you actually need material there to be able to improve it. So it has to start somewhere.
I agree on that. Now, talking about producing now. Tell me, like, for you, what are some of the challenges that you had when you're producing? And also, what advice could you give to those who are recently started?
Advice I have is to connect with a like-minded creator that you can produce with. I think having a producing partner is really important. It doesn't need to be someone who's, you know, a producer in the world, but someone who is creatively included in the project, to be on that team with you, so that you have someone to call at 2:00 in the morning when, you know, you get all the fundraising money in one day, and like you can't sleep because you're so excited. You have that person to call. That's a really important thing. I've been really guilty of doing it alone, and I think that's, you know, definitely a challenge that I've faced, is recognizing I'm allowed to ask for help. I'm allowed to be supported, and that's always something that I tell people when they're doing their own projects. You're allowed to have support. In fact, you should, and it's good, and people want to support you. So producing, again, it's like, I started producing, I wrote and produced as a means to an end, because I wanted to direct. And doing those roles, I've learned a lot of other skills that really have served me, and I now love to produce. I actually think that initially I didn't think that it was a very creative role, but I think it actually is a really creative role, and it's great for people who have really good judgment calls, and they're quick thinkers, and they have a positive attitude about things. Like, if you have those three things, you'll make a great producer. There you
go. I love it. And well, basically, I mean, as I was saying before, I mean, your career is amazing. It's fast. I love it. But tell me about IndieSpunk. Like, where the idea to create that came from?
I created IndieSpunk as almost a response to the fact that I have been sort of doing this work for a long time, just with friends and colleagues and people that I have been working with professionally. I've usually been the kind of person that people are attracted to say, oh, hey, would you, like, Izzy, will you please read my script and give me notes, or like tell me where you think this belongs, or what's a good strategy for getting this made, and what's my next step, right? So I love problem solving. I really love other people's creativity and like helping them figure that out so that they can fly free and like find the career of their dreams and blah, blah, blah. So IndieSpunk is a coaching and inclusive content studio where I help actors and filmmakers go from script to screen. So I help them create their own work. And so much of it is, you know, people will usually say, oh, well, will you help me make my own film? And they'll come and start coaching. And then actually what ends up happening is there's a lot of stuff underneath that we need to kind of go through and figure out before they can actually, you know, end up moving forward. And I think we don't always give credit or weight to the inner work that needs to be happening as well.
I like it. Plus the name is catchy. I like it.
Thank
you. And if someone would like to know more about it, where can they find more information?
Oh, you can head to my Instagram, IndieSpunk, and my website's there as well, so you can click in and learn more and get some hot tips.
There you go. Also, once this video is on YouTube, link will be in the description below.
Oh, great. Cool. Go there.
We got it. Now, if you could describe your career, if you could describe a movie in which all of the characters you have played at the moment will gather for a party, what would be the name of that movie?
That is such a hard question. All of the characters that I've ever played are in a gathering. What's the name of the movie?
Yeah. How would you call it? I mean, originally, the first idea that I have is that what we, instead of like gather for a party, would be stuck in a 16-hour flight. At first, that was the main idea. I was like, probably for the next time. But right now, for a party, what would be the name of that film? How do you think it would go? Like a party with all of the characters, all of them you have played at the moment.
I mean, that would be a wild time. I'm completely lost for words, Dan. I mean, for some reason, the first thing that came to me is the Doors song. It's like, break on through to the other side.
Yeah.
So I feel like we should go with that just because that's what came to me, but I don't think that's a good answer to your question.
Yeah, okay, we'll leave it like that then. We'll leave it for later now, no problem.
But you got me to sing on your show, so congratulations.
I got it. And, all right, so if you could describe your career at the moment on a movie, TV show, a book, even a play, why not? What would be the title of it?
The title of my career?
Yep.
I mean, I guess like Hustle and Flow. Can I call it that? Hustle and Flow.
I like it.
Yeah, that feels pretty truthful.
Yeah. And what would it be? Would it be a movie, TV show? What would it be?
Ooh, it'd be like a limited series on HBO.
There you go. There you go. I love it.
Manifesting that.
Yeah. HBO, you know who to call.
Yeah, you got my number.
You know who to call. Love it. I love it. But if you could describe your career again, but now on a drink, which one would you choose?
These are really hard.
I know, I love it.
What drink? Wait, I figured out a better title for my film life. It's Rebel with a Cause. How's that? Okay, but a drink. You want to know a drink?
I like it.
I mean, I guess it's gonna be like a good red wine, like a really delicious Pinot Noir.
Okay. And the reason would be like why? Because it's getting like wiser and better through the years. Or...
Yeah, and it's delicious.
Okay.
It's
smooth.
I like that.
Okay. You know, like one of the reasons why I love to ask this question is that sometimes they would come up with drinks and I'm like, fine, you know, like a glass of water or a glass of milk, and I'm like, huh.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I was only thinking alcoholic drinks, but I also recognize that I just poured myself a little glass of red wine. So
I love it.
I feel like I was like, well, I guess this is what it is.
Yeah, fair enough. And like, what motivates you? You know, we all have those days, right? In which we want to quit. You know, we think that what we're doing is not enough. We will compare ourselves with friends or with people that we know that they're doing much better than you, let's say, or something like that. So like getting inside all of that toxic bubble is super easy, right? But like, what gets you out of it? You know, what gets you yeah, what kind of like pulls you out of it and just keep you focused on the thing that you love the most?
I mean, always remembering why I'm doing it, and I think why I'm doing it is that there's some kind of like inexplicable, insatiable need that I have to relate to people through storytelling. And filmmaking really makes, you know, TV and film has always made me feel less alone and has always made me feel connected, and I crave to give that to other people as well. I think we always make work to connect. And there's some kind of curiosity that I can't. It's like a thirst I can't quench. And working with people, the collaboration of being on a film set is the best feeling I've ever had, and that's, you know, will forever be my favorite drug. Really, is being on a film set with people and collaborating and making something fantastic that follows our curiosity. That's a good enough reason for me every day to wake up and like go through the slog and be told no a million times and you know, show up all the time. I mean, it's so you've been so complimentary, and it's so lovely to hear that, you know, you think my career is fantastic, and I have loved my career, but you know, it's also been inclusive of a lot of rejection, a lot of no's, as we all do. If we want to go for this life and we have this career, we have to get used to being okay with being rejected all the time, and that's been really good for me. It's been a really good skin thickening agent, you might say. But yeah, it's not easy, but coming back to why I'm doing it, it's such a great question. Why I'm doing it is to be curious and to work with people that I really want to work with. Yeah,
that's true. I mean, as long as you're doing it for the honest reasons, you're fine, you know. Because I think like one of the problems might be that, I mean, not only for acting, but like in several other stuff, either for content creator, or if you want to have like a podcast, YouTube channel, athlete, whatever, that you need to find like the honest reason. Because if you're doing it only for the money, you're not gonna last. You know, you're not gonna last, and it's not gonna be honest. And believe it, and it's so interesting that you will notice immediately. You know, the audience will notice immediately, like, this guy's, you know, it's just not honest. It's just like just only focusing or for the money, or only using the platform for, you know, like to getting something, you know. So the fact that we can find people like you, for example, that are honest about it, and that they're doing it, and that they're doing it because as simple as it is, because you love it, that's perfect.
And I think, you know, people who are maybe doing it for that reason, who have who just want the money, or who, you know, for the fame, they're in a sequence of trying to figure out where they belong in the world, and that comes from a lot of scarcity. And I think that we, like, having grace for that is important. And yeah, I think time always tells. You know, the people who stick with it and who really truly can move forward and continue to show up. It's not always the easiest thing. It takes grit and it takes tenacity, and it's okay to take breaks. And I think that's something that I always, you know, remind people. It's like really important for us to be allowed to take a break.
Totally. And like my last question here is what can we expect from you in the future?
Oh gosh, I just have the next 10 minutes planned. I mean, I'm making some potatoes, so.
Love it. I love it.
What can you expect from me? I mean, I look forward to continue to growing my career and making films, and I'm excited. I'm developing a feature film right now, so you know, we'll see. But lots of acting, directing, and I really hope to build IndieSpunk into a platform and a community space where people can feel supported and build their careers and have a sense of community, because it's always the thing that I wish I had when I first started out. I wish I could have answers to my questions. I wish I could have grounded support, and that's really my biggest motivation there, is to help artists and creatives and filmmakers and actors feel like, oh, they have a space and they belong, and they don't need to be you know, too concerned about the image of things. They're allowed to kind of be who they are, and that's a good thing.
I love it. I like that. And you know what, I'm super sure that you're gonna make it happen. I mean, it's gonna definitely, IndieSpunk gonna blow up, because it's really cool. It is amazing. It is epic. I loved it. I mean, I didn't check much of it, but I was just like scrolling down. I was like, I loved it. And because of that, you deserve this.
Thanks. Back at you,
wait,
Dan.
Huh?
I appreciate you. Thank you.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is amazing what you do. I mean, as I was saying here, I've been expecting for this interview for a very long time now, and I mean, if I could describe your career right now and everything what you do in one single thing, I would only say this.
Stop it.
Yeah, I love it. And also, I want to thank those watching this right now. Thank you so much for watching. And also, if you're watching later on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, make sure that you're following Izzy. If you're already doing it, fantastic. Then what we're gonna do, we're gonna make her viral. I mean, let's make sure everybody knows about this talented, badass, amazing person. Let's make IndieSpunk blow up, because you totally deserve it. And Izzy, again, thank you so much for the time. It is amazing what you do. And before I send you off, I need to send you off properly again in an epic way. So,
what's happening?
There you go.
Woo! Thanks, Dan. That's a clap for you too, man.
Thank you. And thank you so much. And I keep killing it, keeping awesome. And I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, mate. Thank you so much for having me. Bye. Thanks, everyone. See you later.